my name is Connor Sidley Adams, and I'm the Learning Area Manager for extracurricular programs here at the college. My role is to look after our tutorial and enrichment provision, and tonight I'm also joined by Steve Hall, who is our Work Placements Manager here at the college. Together, we will give a short overview of the tutorial, enrichment and work placements program here at the college. But first of all, let us introduce you to the SGSPlus Diploma. The SGSPlus Diploma is the formal name for our personal development program here at the college. It encompasses our tutorial, enrichment and work placement programs. And during a student's time with us, they will study for 540 hours, of which that is made up of 108 hours of personal development and 432 hours of their core academic subject. And that is made up of 36 hours of tutorials, 36 hours of enrichment, and a minimum of 36 hours of work placement. Now, within the SGSPlus Diploma, we've got 4 core aims, and the first of those is around memories. We want our students to be able to look back on their time at SGS with memorable and fond experiences, okay? And we will do everything we can to make sure that that happens through our personal development program. The second is to ensure that students have all of the information required to keep them safe while studying with us, and that includes all of the safeguarding, mental health, British values and prevent requirements as part of that. The third is to ensure that our students are prepared and able to step into society. And that includes whilst they're studying with us, but also once they leave us at the college. So we want them to be able to have all of the societal skills that they will need. And the final one is that we want our students to have all of the skills required to succeed post-SGS. And that might include whether they go on to university, an apprenticeship, or whether they go into employment as well. One of the elements of the SGSPlus Diploma is the tutorial program. And throughout the year, the students will go through an hour-long weekly group tutorial, and they will have a dedicated tutor for that. The tutorial content allows learners to engage in a range of topics and also discussions based around society, safety, and also progression opportunities as well. Alongside this, students will also have 5 half-termly one-to-one tutorials, and that is based around individual progression, setting goals, and also checking on academic achievements as well. And all of the tutorials are specific to individual courses. So just on this slide, we've got a breakdown of the group tutorials which are coming up from November to December. And these are supplemented by the tutorials which have already taken place between September and October. And those include Equality and Diversity Race, Rights and Responsibilities of a Citizen, Safeguarding, Mental Health, and also all of the topics which were covered during induction. One of our key areas is that we want our tutorials to be course specific. And on this slide, it shows a quick breakdown of what that might look like across some of the different courses. So an example of this comes within week 3, which is around managing your own money. And with that, an example might be around construction. And taking a plasterer, for example, we may ask a plasterer to price up a job, which would include materials, including plasterboard and other materials, but also balancing their expenditure of that job as well. So we want them to be able to be financially savvy, and hopefully that tutorial will provide that. Now, I'm just going to hand over to Steve, who is just going to provide a quick overview of work placements for 2020.
Thank you, Connor. Good evening, everyone. Hopefully your son and daughter has mentioned to you that they will be doing a work placement this academic year. We're hoping that will still go ahead. Obviously, with COVID, that might put a spanner in the works for a few of our projects. But what normally happens is the majority of our learners do 36 hours of work placement, and that would be after Christmas now. Some of them have started, and that might be from animal care and early years, but it would only be those from those cohorts that would be going out now. So hopefully, as I said, your son and daughter would have mentioned that after Christmas, they will be doing an external placement. In the meantime, to prepare them for their work placement, we're doing a 12-week course on how to search for work placement, interview techniques, researching placements and CV writing, and then we go on to employability skills such as teamwork, communication, equality and diversity in the workplace. So all good things that will prepare your son and daughter for their work placement. If you, your partner, your neighbour, friends, family work within the industry that your son or daughter is studying, perhaps they can go to that company. So bear that and help your son or daughter look for their work placement. Your son or daughter will have a work placement coach that will support them through this process, but our aim is to try and make your son or daughter as employable as possible, and therefore we try and give them the skills to look for the work placement themselves. That's it in general. Back to you, Connor.
Amazing, thank you, Steve. So alongside our work placements and tutorials, we've also got enrichment. And within that, students are expected to complete 36 hours worth of enrichment. So here at the college, we've also got a range of extracurricular opportunities, and that includes lunchtime clubs or more formal clubs as well. And that includes the Bristol Institute of Performing Arts, so the BIPA programme, the SGS Sport Academies, the Bristol School of Art, some of the Students' Union opportunities, and also the NCS programme as well. Alongside that, students will also complete 36 hours of course-specific enrichment, which is aimed at developing the skills required for their next steps. And that enrichment is based around preparing learners for society, work, life, and also their future. Alongside this, students can also catch up on any enrichment that they have missed, and I'll run through that in a minute. So, as I've mentioned, the personal development programme here at the college is made up of 4 key areas, and that's made up of preparing for society, preparing for work, preparing for life, and also preparing for your future. So taking the prepared for society example, that will include opportunities for our students to engage within the community, and that includes opportunities, for example, hairdressing to cut Bristol homeless's hair, or construction, for example, to build a wall for the local church as well. There's also opportunities for students to engage in raising and giving activities, Black History Month, Remembrance Day, and also diversity inclusion opportunities as well. Alongside this, students will also complete 18 hours of course-specific enrichment, and that is covering the prepared for work opportunities. Examples within that might include gel nail courses, Makaton for early years, NCS, and also the Peter Jones Foundation, which is an opportunity for students to apply for funding to set up their own business whilst studying with us here at the college. The third is preparing for life, and that includes being fit for work, drug and alcohol awareness, road safety, gambling awareness, nutritional support, mental health support, and also the resilience labs as well. So there's a lot in there around preparing for life. And then the final one is prepared for your future, which covers 6 hours worth of content. And that is all focused around what we can do to progress our students to the next steps. So that might include CV writing, UCAS sessions, Future Quest sessions, which cover student finance, but also resilience labs as well. And it may also include attendance at course-specific higher aspiration events. Now, your son or daughter might have also mentioned the SGS Central team, and this is the one-stop shop for our learner services. And this team includes our Students' Union, SGSPlus, Wellbeing, LRC Study Skills, Digital Discovery, and Careers as well. Work placements are also in on this team as well, so you may see Steve's team popping up from time to time as part of that as well. Now, if students are wanting to engage with some of the enrichment opportunities, especially around preparing for your future, they will need to go to the SGS Central team, because that is where we have housed some of the 6-week short courses that we've already ran, which have covered CV writing, job applications, the UCAS application process, student finance, and also a HE live event as well. And to access this, students will need to go to the SGS Central team. They'll need to go to the SGSPlus channel, and then at the top there is a tab which is titled 6-week short courses. They'll be able to go to that tab, and on that tab there is an option for students to click here, which will allow them to watch all of the recordings of the sessions which have taken place so far. They will then need to evidence their completion by completing a short Microsoft form, And then once they've done that, we will then be able to allocate enrichment hours for them for taking part within that session. Now, we hope that that's been useful. We hope that that's provided you with all of the information that you require around SGS Plus, but also around the diploma, work placements, tutorials, enrichment as well. If you have got any questions at all, please get in touch with me. My email is on the screen there. If it is regarding work placements, you can contact Steve at steve.hall@sgscol.ac.uk. Likewise, you can also use the email on the screen there, and I can forward on any questions to Steve from there. Thank you for listening. We hope that's been informative, and we look forward to catching up with you soon. Thank you, everyone.
Hello, my name is Mark Jones. I'm the current Head of Faculty here at SGS for Academic Studies. I'd like to spend 10 minutes this evening to talk to you about a number of different things. Firstly, the significance and importance of studying English and Maths. Secondly, how it fits into the overarching diploma, which my colleague Stuart Evans spoke about last week. Also, the difference between face-to-face and online delivery, which we've had to adopt this year because of the COVID restrictions. Lastly, I would like to talk to you about the correlation between attendance and achievement on English and Maths. And finally, we'll be talking to one of our amazing learners from last year, Kiana Hale, who will share her experiences of her time here at SGS while studying English and Maths. When you clicked on the link this evening, you certainly didn't expect to be faced with some complex problems like this, but these are indicative of the types of questions that you would typically get on a GCSE maths paper, and they are similarly complex also in English. So what I want to do is stress to you the fact that quite often someone on a resit program will reach a barrier. They simply won't know how to access that next level or a particular skill. The more you can sit down with your son or daughter and help them to break it down, work collaboratively together to solve the problems, the easier it will become over time. I'm just going to pause this video for 20 seconds to let you have a look at these two questions. For a lot of young people, this could be the second or possibly even the third time that individuals had to redo their English and Maths. They have arrived at college and they want to study art or construction or hair and beauty, and yet here they are doing English and Maths again. So it's a challenge right the way from day one. So it's a collaborative relationship between ourselves at college, but also yourselves as parents and guardians. So for lots of the time, the students will say, well, you know, what's the point? Do I really need English and Maths? And of course, the answer to that is yes, absolutely they do. So it is an essential skill for life. And for progress, you know, employers want literate, numerate, confident individuals who are going to be able to use those skills in order to help them successfully problem solve. And that's what we're trying to do is to contextualize the learning so it becomes more relevant for that young person. We know that employers absolutely value the qualifications of GCSEs for English and Maths, and thereby it's a prerequisite for that student to be able to pass it so they can progress on to level 3 and higher level studies, inclusive of apprenticeships and university. So it's a real barrier if that young individual is not able to secure the grade 4. So we know that over time there is a relationship between someone's achievement in English and Maths and their economic and social prosperity over time. And this is what we're trying to put across to those young individuals. Absolutely, English and Maths is at the forefront of their progression, both academically, but also as a young individual in the world of work. Hopefully you joined us last week when my colleague Stuart Evans outlined the notion of the SGS diploma. But here's a quick recap. An individual will take a core subject, whether that be construction or hair and beauty or public services, and alongside that they will undertake work experience, have access to a rich tutorial program, undertake one-to-ones, and also engage in enrichment. But importantly, a young individual who has not yet secured a grade 4 in their GCSEs will have to resit either English or maths. If the levels are below that of a grade 3 in GCSEs, chances are that they'll be enrolled onto a functional skills programme that will be a bridging qualification that, once completed, will allow them to access the GCSE the following year. Like many schools and colleges up and down the land, we've had to respond proactively to the COVID-19 virus and switch some of our delivery online. We use a platform called Microsoft Teams, and you should expect your son or daughter to be accessing materials all of the time. Our teachers will be setting assessments in order to consolidate knowledge, but importantly, to be able to identify any gaps in skills or knowledge that your son or daughter may have. In doing so, when we see them face to face, we'll be able to remedy those and ensure that they make progress over time. Our aim is to, wherever possible, allow students to come into the classrooms and experience face-to-face delivery. And where that is not the case, we will be providing 100% online supportive delivery by our teachers and practitioners. We recognise that these are difficult times and not all students have access to PCs or laptops, and we'll be working with individual students to make sure that they continue to access the very best education possible under these most difficult of circumstances. When studying English and maths, or literacy and numeracy, if we're thinking of it in the context of functional skills, it's really important to stress the notion of building secure and solid foundations. And what I mean by that is that in each lesson you will build a particular skill or build some knowledge, and incrementally over time these will link together in order to form the basis upon which you can answer some of the longer, more complex questions. For every piece of the puzzle that essentially you miss, it weakens the foundation, and thereby when you're put in high pressure situations like examinations, you can find that the students just simply don't have the skills to be able to adapt to the new type of question, and consequently don't get all of the marks that they could. The net result is that more often than not, that they thereby might not attempt the question, and that will have an impact on their overall grade, sometimes meaning they miss out by just a few marks in the examinations. So practice, practice, practice. Ensure that your son or daughter is regularly accessing things like Seneca Learning and MathsWatch in order to consolidate and build skills over time. Otherwise, like the pack of cards, when it comes to the examination, it could come crumbling down. I've been in education for almost 15 years now, and this is arguably one of the most important slides that I can ever discuss with a parent. So what it is suggesting is that there is a direct correlation between attendance and outcomes. Along the bottom, you can see you've got the grades there, grade 1, 2, 3 and 4. And what your son or daughter will be looking to achieve is that illustrious grade 4 in either GCSE, English or Maths, or be working towards it in terms of a bridging qualification of functional skills so they can later do the GCSE. Now, what the evidence suggests is that the higher the attendance, the greater the likelihood of that young individual getting to the grade 4. And when someone's attendance slips below that of about 85%, the chances of moving between the grade which they achieved in school, typically a 2 or a 3, and a 4, is greatly reduced. So as a parent, one of the things you absolutely can do to support is to ensure that that attendance is up above the 85-90%, because that maximizes the chance of that young individual passing. For every session they miss, potentially they miss the consolidation of a skill or an important piece of knowledge that might be examined in the summer. And what we find is that on many occasions that students will miss out on getting that grade 4 by a number of marks, or they might miss out on achieving their functional skill because they have not acquired one specific element of the syllabus, whether that be in English or maths. So at the bottom, attendance plus practice, 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 more often than not, will lead to success. Just going to hear a quick word from one of our former students, Kiana Hale, who is an our GCSEPlus student, resitting her GCSEs in English and Maths. Kiana is indicative of the types of students we get at SGS that didn't perform as well as they would have liked at secondary school, secured either 2s or 3s in their GCSEs, and end up having to resit them alongside some other qualifications. So let's hear what Kiana has to say about the advice and guidance that she would give former students and parents.
Hello, my name is Kiana. I am taking A-levels this year. I took my GCSEs last year, and I'm going to briefly talk about why maths and English are important. They're important because if you don't do them and you don't have the right attitude to pass, you won't be able to progress later on in life.
So, and what was your attitude like towards English and Maths when you started college?
Want the best. Well, I don't think it was like really bad, but I could have done better. And then in the end, I just thought, yeah, I might as well try. And then obviously lockdown happened, so. But yeah, if lockdown didn't happen, I would have like still tried like revising. Like I can remember when I was at home, I got myself a maths book and like did like every single topic of the maths to pass. And then lockdown happened, and I was like, what's the point? But yeah, so I did have a good mentality in the end. Yeah.
Okay, and if you could give any advice to a parent of someone who's got a student or daughter at the college doing English and Maths, how could they help?
Just by sitting down, talking to them, making sure they're on top of it, making sure they're getting on all right, and just being there for them, really.
And are there any revision tools, techniques, or websites that you found particularly useful?
Seneca. That's it really, just Seneca I used. Because I don't know how to explain it, I just use my brain really to like, if I'd revise what I knew, and then if I didn't know something I'd quickly look it up and then I'd just revise that as well. Other than that, I use Seneca like loads. I can remember we had like this competition in class and I spent about 50 hours on Seneca. And everyone was like, oh my God, really? Because it like shows you on the map. But yeah, so that's what I used.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to listen to me this evening. I hope you've enjoyed this short session. We've got several more coming up over the next couple of months. So we'll again focus on English and Maths and the importance of providing that much needed support from home from you, the parents. As a dad of two myself, I absolutely get and understand how difficult this process has been for parents. And this is our opportunity to try and help you with that journey. So hopefully we will see you again this time next week. Many thanks and good night.